Never Trump is built on a lie. Okay, the whole movement, all the GOP, all the people, and the people who turned on Trump after January 6th who worked for him, this is all built on a lie. And you will see the lie play out. You don't have to take my word for it, everybody. You'll see this yourselves. The people who all of a sudden have this, they get the strange newfound respect of the Democrats because they're so principled. Give it time. They will be doing campaign ads for Beto O'Rourke. Give it time. They will be advocating for the Green New Deal and showing up at fundraisers alongside AOC.
Well, let's start with Wyoming, where Liz Cheney's political career as a representative for Wyoming is going to come to a close. Harriet Hagman is going to absolutely destroy her. She's going to lose by 20-plus points in a state where her father, Dick Cheney, was certainly legendary. And she's going to make herself a martyr based on those results, Buck. And she's going to argue, oh, this is all because I stood up to Donald Trump. I mean, Dick Cheney's already done an advertisement where he calls Donald Trump the biggest threat to United States democracy, I think, basically, in the history of the country, which is so over the top and absurd that I think all of you are kind of rolling your eyes at the idea. And you know, politics can make strange bedfellows when suddenly Democrats are heralding Dick Cheney as a tremendous hero when they made movies about how he was the most dangerous and awful Republican ever. And they blamed everything they didn't like in George W. Bush's administration, by and large, on Dick Cheney. And now suddenly he's a hero because he doesn't like Donald Trump. Now, Buck, let's start with Wyoming. I think that Liz Cheney is going to run for president. And those same losers out there who have been anti-Trump, I don't even know what they're, the Lincoln Project or whatever those losers are called. They got a couple of websites. They will raise tens of millions of dollars. They will give it to her. They will let her campaign as a Republican. She will get no support, but they will try to get her on the ballot then as an independent candidate so that she can steal away whatever minuscule amount of Republican votes there might be in 2024. Do you agree with that entire layout?
No, I think she's going to be an MSNBC contributor in just a matter of a few months here. And you're going to see her on the Democrat anti-Republican networks. Because there's a whole cottage industry now. I mean, there's this whole segment of the political media that is the former Republican who hates Trump. Now, if they had limited themselves in this capacity, because we've seen this play out over a number of years, Liz Cheney is a little different, but some of the others that we've seen, it's very clear, whether they're pundits or politicians, if they limit themselves to their criticisms of Trump, I think they're wrong. I think they're delusional and kind of maniacal about it. But at least there's a discussion to be had. You can say, Trump broke you, but okay, you are still a Republican. You just hate Trump. But what you actually see with the Never Trumpers, what you see, and you're going to see, I assure you, with Liz Cheney, is all of a sudden they have these strange new comrades. All of a sudden they are pro-choice. All of a sudden, they are attacking, Second Amendment issues, or they want gun control. They start reverting to the other, or rather, they start transferring and going over to the other side entirely, and it's appalling. I mean, Liz Cheney is not only doing the work of Pelosi, and she never says, guys, this actually is overblown. Calling it an insurrection is kind of crazy, but I still think we need to get to the bottom of the security lapses that day. No, instead, it's how can I be the most useful tool for the Democrats so CNN anchors and Pelosi and Schumer will give me a little golf clap at the end of the day. And I guarantee you she's going to start to push more and more for Democrat policies because this is what happens to these people. It's all about them, actually. The great irony of the Never Trumpers is that it started out with, I'm just all about principle. And you realize, no, you join the Lincoln Project. You do whatever gets you the biggest paycheck. It's all about them and their egos. And Trump usually hurt their little bruised egos, which is why they went so Captain Ahab against him in the first place.
And you've already seen that Liz Cheney is saying, I don't think I could support Ron DeSantis either. So they argue
I forgot about that. That's a perfect example.
They argue that it's Trump, and he is such a unique threat to democracy that they can no longer be Republicans. And you're like, okay, well, you can make that argument. I think you're being a bit histrionic. I think you're grabbing your pearls and falling on your fainting couch. I think every single person who has done that in the Republican Party about Trump is artificially exaggerating their disdain for Trump. And then it spreads quickly to, okay, Trump decides I'm not going to run for president. That's not going to happen. Trump's going to run. But let's just say that he says, you know what? I'm not healthy as I'd hoped I'd be, and I'm going to step out. And then Ron DeSantis is the presumptive front runner. And then Liz Cheney comes out and says, well, I've got serious, she's already said it, which is what's so crazy. But she would say, I've got serious reservations about Ron DeSantis, too. He's a Trump-like candidate, right? And effectively, what she's going to be is a tool for people that hate Republicans, and they're going to use her, and she's going to let herself be used.
Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, many others, they aren't actually principled Republicans. This is what they always try to cling to. They are conservative apostates. They have renounced and abandoned their belief system over Donald Trump, which makes you wonder, how much could you ever have believed any of this stuff? I mean, I guarantee you, Liz Cheney now, when she goes off into public life after this, after her annihilation, thanks to the voters of Wyoming that we all know is coming now, and please make sure you get out to our audience in Wyoming. Not a big state, not a big population. Yeah. Make sure, don't leave this to others. If the libs can pull this off, it's just a thumb in the eye of Republicans. I mean, can you imagine? Imagine your job every day is to wake up and antagonize and undermine the entire movement that you allegedly devoted your life to. I mean, this is why never Trumpers, I think, have all gone through different stages of a public nervous breakdown, because eventually they realize we realize, what do they actually stand for exactly? Hatred of Trump is their one mobilizing and motivating principle? That's bizarre.
I think the question is, how do they re-enter as Republicans? Right? It's one thing if you that's why we have primary season. If somebody doesn't like Donald Trump, I encourage them to run. Ron DeSantis, encourage you to run. Ted Cruz, that's the purpose of a primary, is you find out who the best candidate is, and it can be sometimes a difficult battle. But then the person who emerges, I really do believe this, Buck, the person who emerges from a difficult primary is a better candidate because they have managed to hone their message. They've gotten better at responding to attacks. They've gotten better on the debate stage. They are a far better candidate, in my experience, watching them, than they are if they go through unchallenged, unabated. And so, okay, if you want to run, that's fine. But how are you going to come back? Who is the Republican candidate post-Trump? Because there will be one. It could happen in 24. It's certainly going to happen in 28. And you're suddenly going to say, oh, you know what? I'm back. Hey, forget about those hundreds of millions of dollars that I spent, billions of dollars maybe by that time, to try to keep Donald Trump from being able to represent Republicans. Oh, by the way, I'm back. Hey, let's be one big happy family again. I don't know how that works.
Never Trump is built on a lie. Okay, the whole movement, all the GOP, all the people, and the people who turned on Trump after January 6th who worked for him, this is all built on a lie. And you will see the lie play out. You don't have to take my word for it, everybody. You'll see this yourselves. The people who all of a sudden have this, they get the strange newfound respect of the Democrats because they're so principled. Give it time. They will be doing campaign ads for Beto O'Rourke. Give it time. They will be advocating for the Green New Deal and showing up at fundraisers alongside AOC. And then CNN will put them on as GOP strategist or, GOP. I mean, this is like the Ana Navarro over at whatever show she's on now. All she does is the libs bidding. It's pathetic. But she gets to say she's a former Republican who's the real deal. So then she takes orders from the left and amuses them in the process. Guarantee you, folks, you will see this with all of them. Everybody who starts out so maniacally anti-Trump becomes a lib. I had the unfortunate duty, as did Clay, of watching some of her oh-so-serious prompter reads about the January 6th insurrection. It's the day our democracy almost all came apart. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. Just the obsession with all things Trump. It's embarrassing, but look, for a lot of people, I think especially some who are part of Republican political dynasties, Trump gets in the way. Trump is a threat to the apparatus and the old school network, if you will, of the GOP establishment, so that upsets them. So that's what we see going on in Wyoming, where Cheney is going to lose by, Clay, what's your 20 points, 25 points?
Yeah, I think it's going to be substantially more than 20. It's not going to be remotely close. And I would point out, and we can probably talk about this some more this week, it's amazing to me how quickly January 6th disappeared, and the new thing is the confidential documents. You know, if you wondered how much they want to get Trump, I mean, it just vanished.
Almost like they always have some legal reason. And basically, I want everyone to understand this. The Democrat plan to win your vote is to sue all of their political opponents into oblivion or prosecute them, okay? The Democrats, their pitch going into this midterm isn't, look what a good job we've done. Look at how much wealthier America is. Look at how much more secure our border is. Their pitch is, will you vote for us or we'll sue everybody that you want to vote for. That's basically, or they'll throw them in prison. This is how they operate. They're a bunch of crybabies. And that then brings me to Alaska, which we said we'd talk about. Senator Lisa Murkowski, allegedly a Republican, although always a super wishy-washy Republican. She's the only senator who voted for Trump's impeachment who was up for re-election in this cycle. She voted to impeach him for his role in the January 6th insurrection. It was a riot, everybody. Calm down. So she faces this election, and she got Kelly Shibaka, who's joining us in the next hour to make her last pitch to the voters. We got great stations up in Alaska, Clay. So it's another state where we reach all over there. So if we ever have any questions about,
you ever been to Alaska?
Oh my gosh, it is one of the most physically beautiful places on Earth. It almost looks like something they built on a computer for the Lord of the Rings background or something. It's amazing.
I haven't ever been.
Oh,
I would love
you would
to go.
love it. I went fly fishing for during the salmon run with my dad.
Oh, this is when you were close to. Is this when you were close to the bears?
Yes, grizzly bears, which do look cute from far away, but do not touch. Do not get close. So she's running up against Shibaka. Obviously, Shibaka is the Trump-backed candidate. She's the pro-MAGA candidate, but because of the ranked voting system, which why do people do this? But anyway. The ranked voting system means that it could be Murkowski, even though she's got a lot of backlash from GOP faithful over her vote to impeach Donald Trump. And so it basically, right, Clay, the way this works, I'm trying to make sure I say this. So candidates vote for their top 4 candidates in each race, and then unless somebody gets over 50% of first choice votes, the least supported candidate is eliminated, and they keep on going.
So I think 4 advance for the November election, right? That's my understanding of how this ranked choice process works.
Yes.
Because they have no primary system now, right? So you don't nominate a Democrat and you don't nominate a Republican candidate as exists in most parts of the country. You just rank your top 4, and then those top 4 advance, and then you can rank those top 4 in November, is my understanding. And that's how you eventually end up. And I think that works not only there, but for also Alaska's congressional seat, which right now Sarah Palin is favored to end up winning if you look at odds maker numbers. But I think that's also a little bit complicated. And so this, to my knowledge, has not been applied. I don't think they've done it for a statewide Senate race like this before. Some of you in Alaska can let me know on social media if I'm wrong about that. But it's a unique system by which they are selecting their senator and their congressman that is newly instituted in Alaska.
They could both be on the ballot. They could both be on the ballot still in November, is the way it works, because of the way they're doing their ranked system primary.
Yeah, so there's 4, is my understanding, that will be on the ballot for both the congressional seat and the Senate seat. And we'll talk with Kelly Shibaka about this, because I think one of the things that's so fascinating about it is, in theory, I think when you're ranked choice voting, if you really like one candidate, you shouldn't rank any other candidates, right? You should just vote one person, and then instead of allowing, I guess if you really dislike Murkowski,
nobody wants their second choice political candidate. You want your first choice.
I'm trying to work through exactly how you should handle this, but I guess you could rank the one you like the least best of the 4 and try to get them eliminated. But this is going to be really complicated, I think, for a lot of people, is what you're understanding.
I don't think ranked choice is a good idea. We have this now, I believe, in other states as well, and it just complicates matters. But then again, Maine and Nebraska don't do winner take all for the Electoral College. So Clay, it's a crazy world we live in, man. All dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.